Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now is, right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi. Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Good morning. I'm Rabbi Joseph Potasnik.
And I'm Reverend A.R. Bernard.
Reverend, today is known as Super Bowl Sunday. And you know, as a chaplain, as a rabbi, I'm here to bring comfort to people because there are so many disappointed, disheartened, dejected Giants and Jets fans. So I'm here to comfort. Just know that, of course, I come from New England, but that will not in any way sway my compassion. But
the only reason we're talking about this is because the Patriots are playing.
I can't think of a better reason.
In the Super Bowl, we would not be having this conversation. All right?
But you know what's interesting? I sometimes tell members of my community, treat Super Bowl Sunday beginning at 6 p.m. like a Jewish holiday. If you call your kids, they're not going to pick up the phone. They're not going to answer you. It's like a Sabbath. It's like a sacred, whatever you want to call it. But there's no communication for those 3 to 4 hours. And you find that if you go through the streets, because I've done it.
No external communication, because you've got tailgate parties, you've got watch parties.
Yeah, but not with your parents.
You got
parents don't come to
not with your parents. Yeah. Well, that's changed. That is changed. It's amazing how Super Bowl Sunday joins together whole families. And that's why there was always this discussion about making sure that the intermission was family friendly, because you have whole families across the country who are watching now together. Young kids are growing up influenced by their parents' team and their parents' love for the sport. It's true in baseball, basketball, but especially in football, NFL.
Can you imagine if we ever took our parents to a tailgate party? I can see my mother. This is how you treat a mother. You bring her out this cold weather as people are drinking beer and eating whatever. But there is something, you're right, there is something very nice about people sitting together, at least communicating with each other during the halftime, or is that the time they don't talk to each other?
But food. I mean, you're talking about wings, buffalo wings. You're talking about, sliders. You're talking about all of the food that's associated with Super Bowl. You have watch parties. In fact, I will tell you, in the evangelical world, there are churches who sponsor watch parties. They open the big screen in the church, and they will have refreshments and whatnot, and they will host a Super Bowl watch party. It creates community. That's what it does.
Well,
and that's important.
Let me mention, all of those choices that you mentioned are kosher. You can get them kosher. So you don't have an excuse.
Double the cost.
That's another story. That's something else. But, some people take these Super Bowl events so to heart. Like, my God, if their team doesn't win, they're devastated. And it's a game. It repeats every year. You have another Super Bowl year after year.
So let me ask you a question.
Please.
Suppose you have believers on both teams. You've got Christians praying on the Seahawks team, Christians praying on the Patriots. You've got Jews praying on both teams and, praying for the win. All right. How does God decide this one? How does he? Is God the deciding factor? What do we say? Everybody's praying.
To quote my mother, may both teams win. I mean, she would look at it and say, it's a wonderful moment. Just to be in it, you feel blessed. People are watching you, surrounding you, praying for you. I mean, look at the bigger picture. Stand back from that competitiveness and look at the community gathering. That's where we are. we should.
That's well said.
Yeah.
Well said, Rabbi. Because look, what happens, when someone says, I thank God, or, I give honor to God because we won.
Right,
What does it say to the prayers of the other team?
Yeah. Like God cares about which team wins.
How do we understand that? And I don't have explanations for it. I just believe that we should pray no matter what, win or lose. But like you said, may both teams win.
Yeah.
I like what your mom said.
One of the most moving moments I find is at the end of the game. Very often, both teams come together and pray together. You see them.
You know what? You're pointing something out that the Patriots. In fact, it was after a Patriot win and they made it into the Super Bowl. Right? They all took a knee in a circle.
Yep.
And they prayed, and there wasn't a lot of criticism. There wasn't a lot of people on social media blasting it. So maybe there's hope that we are allowing people to, believe in something transcendent, believe in someone transcendent, and believe that we're part of something much greater than ourselves, and there are forces greater than us that are involved in our world, our reality. I think that's an important sign.
And the people on the other team praying with you, they are not the enemies. I mean, they're praying with you, and there's one gathering.
After the game. After the game, they're not the enemy. Before and during, they're the enemy. Okay.
I got to take a moment. I want to commend the owner of the Patriots, Robert Kraft, because you're going to see commercials. I've seen a preview. You're going to see commercials about the blue square, where Kraft Foundation has made it possible for people to obtain a blue square, which is a stance against anti-Semitism, against hatred. And there'll be commercials that emphasize the need to stand up and to really be there for the other who's under attack. There's a moving piece there of a young boy going to school, going to his locker, and as he bends down, there's a African-American kid who comes over and takes a sticker off his back. Somebody, they put stickers on your back as you're walking down, and it said, you're a Jew. And the African-American young man and the Jewish young man walk out together, saying that we need to be there for each other. And given our historical alliance, how moving and meaningful is that?
We met at several events, but we sat together at a rally in Washington, D.C. It was 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago, and had a chance to really talk with him and get his ideas in terms of, the issues of rising anti-Semitism. And it was happening then, if you remember. And it's important that we understand any type of dehumanization, no matter who it is something that we should stand up against. Now, there's a lot of controversy with Gaza, what's happening there, how it's been handled by the Israeli government. And I get it, but you don't dismiss an entire people, and hold, every Jew in the world, on the planet, responsible for decisions that are being made by a geopolitical state. Yeah. I think that's very, very important.
And you got to be prepared to hear the argument on the other side. Gaza is complicated. We didn't get to Gaza, just after October 7th. There's a whole history of what transpired. And I think what people need to do, and unfortunately we spoke about this last week in terms of the formation of opinions, people don't take the time to look at the history of a country, to look at the history of conflict, and reach a decision as to who's guilty without knowing all the facts, based on, it could be a YouTube, could be a TikTok, could be whatever, but it's not a comprehensive analysis of the problem.
And I think we have to be careful when it's only about placing guilt. I think it should be understanding what are the problems and how can we find solutions together. I was preaching a message, and basically the title was "Your past is not your prison. Your past is your context.
Mm-hmm.
It explains, your convictions. It explains your patterns. It explains your values. It explains the forces that were at work to shape you into who you are today, good and bad forces. And we this is what we say. We say, wait a minute, let me just give you some context here.
Right.
What do we mean when we say that? We're trying to say it's not as simple. It's not as black and white as you may feel. There's nuance, there's complexity, there's history, there's forces at play. Let me give you an understanding.
Right.
And we've got to be able to do that patiently with everybody in every situation.
And to be ready to explain, how did we get to this point? Yeah. This didn't happen overnight. How did we get here? And also, if we're talking about some of the conflicts in the world, the question we ask in the Jewish community, why aren't people marching for what's happening in Iran? We saw the demonstrations. Gaza, where are the demonstrations with Iran?
Yeah. You and I had a meeting.
Selective anger.
And it can't be. You and I had an interesting meeting with a representative from Rwanda. We've got to go to a break, and I think let's talk about that when we come back. Right? So stay tuned for more of the Rev and the Rabbi this Super Bowl Sunday morning, right here on Red Apple Radio Network.
Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now is, right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.